Well, my friends, today our guest has shared the stage with some of the biggest names in the music business. He is one of the most well-known drummers in the world today, but he's about so much more than rocking the house. He has dedicated his life to motivating others through his ministry work. We love that he's a friend of the show. I feel pretty lucky to call him my dear friend as well. Welcome back to the Treehouse, Zoro.
Lou, it's so good to be here with you.
You don't age.
Well, neither do you.
You're unbelievable.
It's the magic of makeup.
It's the magic of being busy, my friend. And this past year, you were not on the stage, but you were busier than ever. New book, The Big Gig, book signings. You were teaching. You were doing all kinds of mentoring work. Did you land at the White House in June? Is that correct?
I did, and it was a fantastic event called Champions of Change that I was invited, where they honored a lot of different people from various sects that are doing mentoring work and help in the area of fatherhood and stuff.
So Champions of Change is an interesting way to describe you, because you are such an agent for social change, and you're such a talented musician, and it all started with Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse, everything goes back to Mickey Mouse. When I was 10 years old, I wanted, more than anything for Christmas, I wanted a drum set. And my mother didn't have a lot of money, but she managed to get me this $10 drum set. It was actually $9.99. I still have the picture from the Sears catalog, made of paper heads. And
how long did that last?
It lasted really all of a day. By the end of the evening, I'd already put a hole in the bass drum.
Now, you're one of several siblings.
Yeah, so there's 7 of us in the family.
Your mom raised you alone.
Yes.
She still managed to ignite your dream and all your siblings' dream. But give me a little snapshot of being on stage with some of the biggest names.
Everything felt surreal. Playing with Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind & Fire. I grew up the biggest Earth, Wind & Fire fan in the world.
Tell me about Lenny, real quick.
We met when we were real young. I was, I think, 18, and he was 16 and a half or 17. So he's one of the guys who really told everybody about me in Hollywood, and was responsible for a lot of my success.
You want to pay it forward for the young generation. You see yourself as a little bit of a voice for this generation, a teacher, a guide, and a mentor. Let's talk about the power of service.
Well, I learned at a very young age that there's only 2 ways to live in life. You either live a life of self, which many people do, or you live a life of service. There's only 2 paths. When you live a life of self, you'll always self-destruct, because I truly believe that each one of us was created by God to serve. And when you're not serving with the gift that you've been given, you'll never be happy. You'll never feel fulfilled, and you'll never feel a sense of purpose. You may be rich, you may be famous, you may be good looking, and you may be worshiped and idolized all over the world. But if you're not ultimately serving people with the gifts that God gave you, you will not find purpose, and you will not find fulfillment or contentment.
When was the first time you mentored?
I think at least 30 years ago, when I first started getting in the music industry, and you could recognize a young person coming up to you that was inspired by what you played, and then they want to get to talk to you, because that's how I felt. It was easy for me to mentor and to encourage people, because I grew up fatherless, and so I grew up with very few mentors. I was in the Big Brother, Big Sister program when I was a young boy from 10 to 14, and later I became an advocate for them and speak for them all over the world. But from that experience, I realized that the greatest thing in the world to give to somebody is encouragement and hope.
What does it mean to you to teach somebody to live in the world?
The thing to gain above everything is wisdom. And so when I mentor, I'm trying to teach and impart wisdom to a whole generation that isn't getting wisdom from many areas. Wisdom is really the art of skillful living. And I try to impart things to them to help them build a successful vocational life, which is the use of their gift and craft and skill, a personal life, which is equally as important, and a spiritual life, which is connecting to God and your higher purpose of why you're here.
What kind of message do you want to impart to this up-and-coming generation that you're not special as defined by how many likes you have on Facebook?
No. Well, first of all of us have a gift, and really at the end of our life, when we get to the end of our life, the only thing that's going to matter is the faithfulness to the call. Some of us are called to mentor 5 people. Some of us are called to mentor 5,000. Some of us are called to play in front of thousands. Some of us are called to play in front of hundreds. It's not about the size that you have. It's about the level of impact and were you faithful to the platforms that God gave you.
Your kids are how old now?
My children are 13. My son Jared is 13, and my daughter Jordan is 11.
And before we let you go, can you tell us the story about how you taught your son at the toy store?
Sure.
About giving and the power of giving and how that impacted him.
Since they were born, I've been teaching them about compassion, and I wrote down that word. Compassion means to feel for others in need. So on Christmas, I took them one Christmas, both my son Jared and my daughter Jordan, I took them to Toys R Us, and I said, pick out your favorite toys for Christmas. I want you to pick out something you really want. And they both picked out something really great. He picked out some big, train set or Lego castle, and she picked out something. I said, okay, now we're going to go to the fire department, and you're going to take those toys and you're going to put them in the Toys for Tots bin, because now you're going to give this to some other kid who wouldn't have any other toy but this one. So I got them really excited about it. I didn't like make it seem like it was a drag. I said, you're going to be able to, this kid's going to wake up and he's going to have this train set because of you.
You got them to choose what they want.
Right.
And give what they want, which is a powerful lesson.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the work you do. Let's tell people your website for the ministry's work is ZoroInternationalMinistries.org, and of course people can find you on other websites and your Facebook page.
Yeah.
And your book, The Big Gig, is fantastic. Map to success for anything and anybody, really, not just musicians. Thanks, Z.
Thank you
Take
so
good
much.
care. We'll be right back.